Hi guys, my name is Ashley Stone and I am reading Lamentations 3 through 5. Chapter 3. I am the man who has seen affliction because of the rod of his wrath. He has driven me and made me walk in darkness and not in light. Surely against me he has turned his hand repeatedly all the day. He has caused my flesh and my skin to waste away. He has broken my bones. He has besieged and encompassed me with the bitterness and hardship. In dark places he has made me dwell, like those who have long been dead. He has walled me in so that I cannot go out. He has made my chain heavy. Even when I cry out and call for help, he shuts out my prayer. He has blocked my ways with hewn stone. He has made my paths crooked. He is to me like a bear lying in wait, like a lion in secret places. He has turned aside my ways and torn me to pieces. He has made me desolate. He bent his bow and set me as a target for the arrow. He made the arrows of his quiver to enter into my inward parts. I have become a laughingstock to all of my people. Their mocking song all the day. He has filled me with bitterness. He has made me drunk with wormwood. He has broken my teeth with gravel. He has made me cower in the dust. My soul has been rejected from peace. I have forgotten happiness. So I say, my strength has perished, and so has my hope from the Lord. Remember my affliction and my wandering, the wormwood and bitterness. Surely my soul remembers, and is bowed down with me. This I recall to my mind. Therefore I have hope. The Lord's loving kindness indeed never cease, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore, I have hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him. To the person who seeks him, it is good that he waits silently for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he should bear the yoke of his youth. Let him sit alone and be silent, since he has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust, perhaps there is hope. Let him give his cheek to the smiter. Let him be filled with reproach. For the Lord will not reject forever, for he causes grief. Then he will have compassion, according to his abundant loving kindness, for he does not afflict willingly, or grieve the sons of men. To crush under his feet all the prisoners of the land, to deprive a man of justice in the presence of the Most High, to defraud a man in his lawsuit. Of these things the Lord does not approve. Who is there who speaks and comes to pass, unless the Lord has commanded it? Is it not from the mouth of the Most High that both good and ill go forth? Why should any living mortal or any man offer complaints in view of his sins? Let us examine and probe our ways, and let us return to the Lord. We lift up our heart and hands toward the God in heaven. We have transgressed and rebelled. You have not pardoned. You have covered yourself with anger and pursued us. You have slain and have not spared. You have covered yourself with a cloud, so that no prayer can pass through. You have made us mere offscouring and refuse in the midst of the peoples. All of our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Panic and pitfall have befallen us, devastation and destruction. My eyes run down with streams of water because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. My eyes pour down unceasingly without stopping, until the Lord looks down and sees from heaven. My eyes bring pain to my soul because of all the daughters of my city. My enemies, without cause, hunted me down like a bird. They have silenced me in the pit, and I have placed a stone on me. Waters flowed over my head. I said, I am cut off. I called on your name, O Lord, out of the lowest pit. You have heard my voice. Do not hide your ear from my prayer for relief, from my cry for help. You drew near when I called on you. You said, "Do not fear." O Lord, you have pleaded my soul's cause. You have redeemed my life. O Lord, you have seen my oppression. Judge my case. You have seen all their vengeance, all their schemes against me. You have heard their reproach, O Lord, all their schemes against me. The lips of my assailants and their whispering are against me all day long. Look on their sitting and their rising. I am their mocking song. You will recompense them, O Lord, according to the work of their hands. You will give them hardness of heart. Your curse will be on them. You will pursue them in anger and destroy them from under the heavens of the Lord. Chapter 4. How dark the gold has become, how the pure gold has changed. The sacred stones are poured out at the corner of every street. The precious sons of Zion, weighed against the fine gold. How they are regarded as earthen jars, the work of the potter's hands. Even jackals offer the breast, they nurse their young. But the daughter of my people has become cruel, like ostriches in the wilderness. The tongue of the infant cleaves to the roof of its mouth because of thirst. The little ones ask for bread, but no one breaks it for them. Those who ate delicacies are desolate in the streets. Those reared in purple embrace ash pits. For the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the sin of Sodom, which was overthrown as in a moment, and no hands were turned toward her. Her consecrated ones were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than corals. Their polishing was like lapis lazuli. Their appearance is blacker than soot. They are not recognized in the streets. Their skin is shriveled on their bones. It is withered. It has become like wood. Better are those slain with the sword than those slain with hunger, for they pine away, being stricken for lack of the fruits of the field. The hands of compassionate women boiled their own children. They became food for them, because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Lord has accomplished his wrath. He has poured his fierce anger, and he has kindled a fire in Zion, which has consumed its foundations. The kings of the earth did not believe, nor did any of the inhabitants of the world, that the adversary and the enemy could enter the gates of Jerusalem. Because of the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests, who have shed in her midst the blood of the righteous, they wandered blind in the streets. They were defiled with blood, so that no one could touch their garments. "Depart, unclean," they cried of themselves. "Depart, depart, do not touch." So they fled and wandered. Men among the nations said, "They shall not continue to dwell with us." The presence of the Lord has scattered them. He will not continue to regard them. They did not honor the priests. They did not favor the elders. Yet our eyes failed. Looking for help was useless. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save. They hunted our steps so that we could not walk in our streets. Our end drew near. Our days were finished, for our end had come. Our pursuers were swifter than the eagles of the sky. They chased us on the mountains. They waited in ambush for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the Lord's anointed, was captured in their pits. Of whom we had said, "Under his shadow we shall live among the nations." Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, who dwells in the land of Uz. But the cup will come around, so you as well. You will become drunk and make yourself naked. The punishment of our iniquity has been completed. O daughter of Zion, he will exile you no longer. But he will punish your iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will expose your sins. Chapter 5. Remember, O Lord, what has befallen us. Look and see our reproach. Our inheritance has been turned over to strangers, our houses to aliens. We have become orphans without a father. Our mothers are like widows. We have to pay for our drinking water. Our wood comes to us at a price. Our pursuers are at our necks. We are worn out. There is no rest for us. We have submitted to Egypt and Assyria to get enough bread. Our fathers sinned and are no more. It is we who have borne their iniquities. Slaves rule over us. There is no one to deliver us from their hand. We get our bread at the risk of our lives because of the sword in the wilderness. Our skin has become as hot as an oven because of the burning heat of famine. They ravished the women in Zion. The virgins in the cities of Judah, princes were hung by their hands. Elders were not respected. Young men worked at the grinding mill, and youths stumbled under loads of wood. Elders are gone from the gate, young men from their music. The joy of our hearts has ceased. Our dancing has been turned into mourning. The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us, for we have sinned. Because of this, our heart is faint. Because of these things, our eyes are dim. Because of Mount Zion, which lies desolate, foxes prowl in it. You, O Lord, rule forever. Your thrones is from generation to generation. Why do you forget us forever? Why do you forsake us so long? Restore us to you, O Lord, that we may be restored. Renew our days as of old, unless you have utterly rejected us and are exceedingly angry with us. Thank you for reading Lamentations 3-5. Again, my name is Ashley Stone, and I bless you going into this day, into this week, and thank you for taking on this challenge of reading the Bible in a year.
Hello, friend, and welcome to Fear into Faith Global Bible Revival, where we're on a mission to get 1 million people to read the Word of God cover to cover in a year. I'm your host, Summer Day, and with me in the studio today is Ashley Stone, the fabulous, the stunning in pink Ashley Stone.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is literally a blessing to be here and to know you, so...
Stop some more.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to start with all my prepared questions. I want to know, how is this a blessing to you?
Well, I'm on that walk, that journey currently, I feel like. And so there's an aspect where I always say, like, I'm a baby Christian. This is new to me. And at the same time, God is surrounding me with just so many incredible women and people in my life. And honestly, I prayed out for that. And very shortly after, I met Lindy and I met you. And so really he is truly surrounding me by women that know him. And so as I'm thirsty for the word, I mean, hello, I'm thirsty for the word. I'm wanting to be surrounded by women that know the word. And here are you reading the Bible in a year. So I'm just like, okay, God, I see what you're doing here. So
he's calling you deeper. He's answering your prayers.
Always.
I love it. Okay, tell everybody a little bit about you. Where are you originally from?
Oh, man. So I'm originally from Texas, but I left very young, moved up north, and not really necessarily by choice. It was kind of a rough start with our family. And so my mom was a single mom. It was me and my brother, and we lived in my grandparents' attic in Connecticut. And so really started with nothing. And so from there, I just grew up not really with church, not with God. We didn't really know. We always believed in something bigger. But it kind of started and ended there. It was really instilled in me to just be a strong little girl and to just, not really have emotions, and we're just going to kind of forge forward. We got to be tough. Mm-hmm. And, so yeah, I grew up in Connecticut in kind of rough beginnings and had really rough experiences in life, that unfortunately exposed me to trauma and, some just tough things as a teenager. And so I really felt like
you're back in Texas now.
I'm back in Texas now, completely God sent.
And what do you do in Texas?
In Texas, what do I do in Texas now?
Yes.
Girl,
Are you a kindergarten teacher?
No, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so serial entrepreneur. I've been a little bit in survival mode after COVID, but God completely directed me down here. And so from one extent, I started beauty trucks when I got here, pink beauty trucks.
What's a beauty truck?
So I converted box trucks into luxury salons and just drove around Texas and was like, someone please dial this number on the side of my truck. I'm here. And God directed me to these trucks and told me to do this. And I was just like completely walking in faith.
Wow.
And so it was very much one of those things, I think, that actually grew my relationship with God, driving around this box truck and laughing and having conversations. And so me and God just became real good friends on that truck and really just opened up my heart and my relationship to him. So
amazing. And you just like had this idea, when COVID hit, businesses are closing, you're like, I'm going to do a beauty salon truck.
Yeah.
Had you heard of somebody doing that? Or you just like...
exactly happen as smooth as that. But
that's great. Well, that's a beautiful version of that song.
Yeah, if only it was that simple. But actually, I heard from God actually right before COVID hit. It was my first experiencing God. So going back to just that trauma, I was experiencing just PTSD and really struggling, trying to heal, going through all these like, I'm doing everything. What more can I do? And just at a moment.
Right before 2020.
This was right before 2020, about probably 3 months before. And so I was in one of those very dark places and just at the end of kind of where I was and just got on the floor crying in the bathroom and just called out. And I heard him. And there was just no, I'm going to get emotional because there was just no denying it. I knew immediately. And it was wild to me because it was just like, what more can I do? And he was like, I need you sober-minded. And I literally just I'm going to get emotional because my daughter's also here listening, but he just spoke so clearly. And I knew I had to listen. So he had very direct orders and steps for me to take. And it was being sober-minded so I can hear him more.
Wow.
And I fasted. I did a Daniel fast for 21 days.
Wow.
I started going to my husband's church. And he told me to prepare. I was going to be moving. I needed to prepare financially. It was a time in my life that was seasonal for my company. And my company...
Were you living in Texas?
I was in Connecticut. Yeah.
This is part of your crazy story of how you...
That's the part of the crazy story.
In Texas?
Yes. So I had a very clear direction. I started taking it. And he told me to prepare financially and that there was going to be a big shift. And I was like, okay, well, I was planning on buying a house in the spring. So I'm like, okay, he's going to buy this house. So I know I'm going to be moving. And then the world shut down.
House in Connecticut?
Connecticut. Yeah. Texas was not on the radar, girl, at all. Was not on the radar. And Texas had this big hole in my heart that I just wasn't ready to face. I really neglected Texas for a really long time. I had family here. My father's here. And so Texas was never on the radar to ever go back to. And really, he called me to it after the pandemic happened and my business definitely was closed down. Financially, we were able to weather the storm because I was prepared. And I started to get into that mode again of what do I do? I'm waiting to hear from you. Where are you? I need to know.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear from him right away. And then when I did, he said I needed to go to Texas. And I was like, what? I'm never going to Texas. And so really how it happened was my mom actually called me. It was that morning I heard Texas. My mom called me that afternoon and she was in Florida and she was like, hey, so I'm thinking of going to visit my brother in Texas. You need a break. You need to get out of the Northeast. Just take a break. Get on a flight. Meet me in Texas.
What? You're like, what is the Lord doing?
Yeah. So I was just like, okay. And so I just connected dots and immediately I was like, done. I'm going to Texas. So this was on Sunday. My flights were booked on Thursday. And myself and my 2 kids got on a plane. There was 6 of us on the plane during COVID. It was May 2020. And we went to Texas. And so we visited. I regrouped. I went back up to Connecticut. And I mean, between protesting and trying to get my business open, I was just like, this is not the place for me. God, what am I going to do? And he said, you're moving to Texas. So I bought a house through the internet like any normal person.
Oh, any normal person.
Yeah.
Had a house through the internet, sight unseen.
Sight unseen. They approved my offer. Didn't know that they close in Texas a little faster than they do things in the Northeast.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, we're closing when? And so it was July 2020. Within 3 weeks, we sold everything, got in the car, and came to Texas.
You know, that's crazy because I was selling everything because I left August 1st, 2020.
Yeah, he was. I heard the story, and I was just like, he's just been calling people to Texas.
Yeah. So did he call you specifically to this area of Texas?
So my uncle lived, this is the area that I visited.
Yeah.
So I was familiar with the area. I had family close by. So I just knew that it was a good place. It was a family-oriented place. So I knew my kids would be settled. So that was important for me. But yeah, it was mostly because my family was here, and it was just where I felt like, all right, that's where we're going to go.
All right, we're just going to hustle.
Jump right in. And it was probably a few weeks later that my husband didn't come right away.
Okay, I'm going to pause you really quick.
Okay.
Your husband didn't come right
No.
away. Oh, that's a great cliffhanger. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Science fiction fans, how does a teenage boy from Ohio become king of the Milky Way? Find out in the new action-packed sci-fi book and audiobook series, Richard, by author Michael W. Hickman. With famous author DNA in his blood, Hickman weaves engaging and thrilling sci-fi stories in Richard, Distant Son, Richard, an unlikely love story, and Richard, the Dragon's Curse. Search those book titles now on Audible and Amazon.
Did you know that most skincare products today have low-quality ingredients that can end up doing more harm than good? Sofiel's pure, natural ingredients hydrate, exfoliate, and nourish your skin. Most people see results in one application. Our patented skincare formula contains only the highest quality, natural, plant-based ingredients, so pure you can eat them.
Your skin deserves the best.
Go to shopsofiel.com and use code SOUL20 to save 20%. Get started today.
We're back, my friend, with Ashley Stone, and we were right at the cliffhanger because the Lord told you, go visit Texas. Then he said, go move to Texas. You sell everything within 3 weeks. Yeah. And then right before the break, you're like, oh, and my husband didn't come right away.
No,
I was wondering, what did hubby think about this whole Texas?
Yeah, he wasn't exactly. He didn't get that same calling from the Lord.
Yeah.
So he was still working that out. So he actually worked in healthcare. He worked in the emergency room. So during a pandemic, as you can imagine, he was quite busy. So he had the stable job. So he had the health insurance and all those things. So he was like, you feel called to Texas. I'm not ready to go. So I'm going to support you on this and get you there with the kids. He drove us down and pretty much dropped us off and then flew back to Connecticut. And he had the stable job, so he did that for probably about 4 months. And we've been together for 22 years. And so for us, we've never been apart that long. So he would come and fly back every 3 weeks and visit. And it was on his first visit back, 3 weeks into living in Texas. He was like, what are you going to do? And I was just like, I don't know. And he mentioned going on the road. And also just a wild kind of situation when he mentioned it. I was like, well, it's got to be really nice, got to be really cool. And I was like, there's this really cool truck that I pinned on my Pinterest board like 3 years ago. Let me go see if I can find it. And so I went to my Pinterest board, I clicked on it, and it brought me to a link. And it was a marketing company out of Dallas, Texas.
Stop.
Yes. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it's 30 minutes away. Let me call them. So I literally, in that moment, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, called them. And they were like, yeah, we're a marketing company. We don't sell those trucks. We do those for big like brands and things like that. But if you want to come take a look, we might sell you one because COVID affected their business too.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like, done. Within 45 minutes, we were there, walked through it. And I was just like, there's no way. This is crazy. It was just like a wild idea. And then they said, yes, they would sell it to me. And I was like, okay, let me think about it. And I prayed on it. And it was just like he was giving me every sign, like, this is it. This is where you got to go. This is what you got to do. And so we, on a wing and a prayer, because we cashed out my husband's 401k. I mean, we totally just risked everything, the last of what we had, and put it into this pink truck.
This pink truck, this traveling pink truck. And then what happens?
So I just got on the road and just, again, prayed that people would call. People did. And it had wild success. And truly through that whole process, I mean, it really challenged me. I would do these videos called #Truck Chronicles, and I would share just this wild stuff between fighting with the hose, filling the water tank, or breaking down and not knowing what was wrong, and like power outages on it. So all these different things, but it tested my faith in a completely different way, because I was just like, I am here, and and I just see how he's working. And the people that I was meeting on this truck in a time like the world is still trying to come back, And the people, I always believe when you're a hairstylist, you're kind of like a therapist.
Oh, yes.
With your clients. And it had been a while since I actually had done hair, because I mostly was running my businesses before. But it just gave me this like reality of just like being able to connect with people. And it just became about that for me. It wasn't about money. I was like, okay, God, lead me to that next person. Who else do I need to meet?
Yeah. Where were you driving around?
Through DFW.
Just driving around the Dallas area and just...
They would just call, and then I'd go, and then and it was such a range. I kind of laughed a lot, because I was like, this is such a social experiment, because, you have people from different, and at that time, I mean, people were on all different sides of the fence and their beliefs. And it was just like, mask, no mask. Like, it was just all these different things. Everyone was just roaring about everything.
Yeah.
And so here I am, and I'm hearing really the inner behind the scenes of what that looked like for people, truly, and all these different stories. And it was some people that lived here and some people that were brand new, just like me. Yeah. And so you just realize like all of this, like, it just was becoming this melting pot. So I got to meet so many different people.
And were your kids at school? So you were doing it when the kids were at school? Did they come with you?
Yeah, so they were at school. So they were back at school. And that was kind of one of the factors. Like, Texas had schools that were open. So they wanted to go back to school. So while they were at school, I was on the truck. And I would get home by the time they got home from school. And so I worked during the week, during the day. And it was a great balance for us to get us at least on our feet when we first started here.
Wow. And so what happened to the pink truck?
Oh, the pink truck. So I feel like I have testimony on testimony on testimony, because God always has a plan. So I did that for quite a while, for about 2 years. And I eventually, as I got off the truck, I was stopping at the house to go to the bathroom. No bathroom on the truck. So I stopped by the house. And as I was leaving the bathroom, I literally heard it to download this app. It was a realtor app that I used to always look at property. And I dreamed of owning my own building one day and getting off these trucks. And so just like clear as day, it was like, download this app. And so I downloaded it, and immediately what popped up was this building. And I was like, I just felt it. This building is meant for me. Wow. But I was just like, God, why are you showing me this building? I have no business buying a building right now. I have these trucks. Like,
how many trucks did you have?
I had 2 at that point.
How did you have 2? Somebody else drove?
Yeah, she met her at a gas station. She was praying for a mobile salon opportunity.
What?
Weird prayer.
You meet a lady at a gas station who's like, how did you, like,
literally,
can I buy you gum? Like,
literally was praying. I was putting gas in my truck, and she's like, this is going to be really weird, but this is my dream right here. And I was just like, okay. And I was in between appointments. So I was just like, yeah, you want to see it? So I showed it to her, and then she told me, she's like, I have been praying to the Lord. She completely like shared her heart with me. And I was like, I am burnt out. I was so booked. And I was just like, you can do this with me. And so I trained her and
bought another truck.
Yeah. So just, and
come on, duplicated yourself.
Yeah.
Girl at a gas station. That's so much fun.
Girl in a gas station. And my indicator was, I mean, as soon as she was like, I prayed for, something like this. And here you go driving by a stoplight. She followed me to the gas station.
She's like, this is my dream.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So do you still have the trucks?
No, actually. Got appointed.
We were at building.
We were at the building. So on my drive to the building, I called my realtor and I was like, hey, we got to go see this building. She's like, Ashley, you got to get pre-approved. And I was like, I know, I'm probably not going to get approved, but I'm just going to go look at it. Yeah.
You can check out the rest of this interview right here or by going to BibleRevival.tv. And if this show has blessed you, you can help us bless others by partnering with us for as little as $20 a month and help us to expand the reach of this show. We'd also like to invite you to join our Kingdom Discipleship Program, where you have an opportunity to get on weekly Bible Zoom calls with us and people around the world to deep dive into His Word. And you can check all that out at BibleRevival.tv. I'll see you next time, my friend.